There's no better place to learn Korean right now than this background. Take a walk around here. I'll come back. Okay, let's get started with the lesson. So let's talk about our form. The way you make it is you first take the plain form and then you attach 이랍시고. So the plain form will end in 다. For example, if you have the verb 하다, it becomes 한다, 한답시고. If it's 먹다, you get 먹는답시고. You can use this form with both action verbs and descriptive verbs, and you can use it with other tenses as well, but most of the time it will be used like this in the present tense. If you use a descriptive verb, remember that descriptive verbs, the plain form is the same as the dictionary form. So the verb 좋다, to be good, is just 좋답시고. That's all you have to do. There is an exception for one verb. Now, 이다 in the plain form normally is just 이다, but when it becomes a quoting form, 이다 will become 이랍고. So you take 이라, which makes it 이랍시고 after a consonant or 랍시고 after a vowel. This form expresses sarcasm, usually. Or more basically, this form expresses disappointment about something. The way you translate it will be a little bit different whether you're using action verbs or descriptive verbs. How that works is when you're using it with an action verb. So 한답시고, if you're using 하다, to do, etc. This is saying that something that someone tried to do had a negative result. So you're trying to do something, but it had a negative, so a disappointing result. So you're intending, whoever is doing it, you're intending to do A. And A is something positive. So you're trying to do A, but you actually do B, and that's negative. So in English, we might say it like this. Well, I was trying to do that, but that happened. Or I was trying to do that, and something happened. So this form is often used when someone fails at something or even makes it worse. So by doing that, A, you're trying to do something, you're intending to do something, and that's good. You're trying to do something good, right? But you fail and do this. Or you make it worse by doing this. That's how this form is often used. So let's do an example. 제레미가 한국어 공부를 한답시고 게임을 시작했다가 게임 중독이 되었대요. 제레미가, so Jeremy, 한국어 공부, Korean study. 한답시고. So Jeremy is intending to do Korean study. But then what happens? 게임을 시작했다가, so he started playing a game. 게임 중독이 되었대요. So I heard that he became addicted to games. So 제레미가 한국어 공부를 한답시고 게임을 시작했다가 게임 중독이 되었대요. So Jeremy was going to study Korean, but then he started playing games, and now I heard that he's addicted to games. 제레미가 한국어 공부를 한답시고 게임을 시작했다가 게임 중독이 되었대요. By saying this, you're not just saying that Jeremy was trying to study Korean, but he ended up getting addicted to games, I heard. You're not just saying that. You could express that without using this form. 제레미가 한국어 공부를 한다고 했는데. So why would you use this form if you don't need it to express just that? Because this form shows disappointment and sarcasm. That's why you use this form. If you want to express, Jeremy, he said he's trying to learn Korean, but then he just started playing a game and now I heard he's addicted to it. Like, I'm disappointed in it. Like, sarcasm. Like, well, Jeremy said he's going to do Korean. You know how we do that in English? We're like, well, I was trying to do this. Like, you already gave up in your mind, but you're just expressing yourself. You're like, I know I disappointed myself. I disappointed my family. I disappointed my ancestors. I tried to do that. You know how we say that sometimes? That's the feeling that this form gives you. Notice that both of these sentences use the quoting form at the end. Why don't we just say 구경만 했어요? Why can't we say that? Does anyone know? Why? Because you cannot talk about someone in the third person as if you know what they are feeling or intending to do. For example, this is the same thing as when you're using the 려고 form. 으려고, so like intending to do something. You can never say 영수는 가려고 해요. No, unless you're the writer of a book and you are writing what Youngsu is trying to do, then yeah, you don't know what Youngsu is trying to do. You don't know what he's intending to do, but you can quote him. You can say, I heard Young-soo is intending to do something, but you cannot say, I know Young-soo is intending to do something like that. You cannot. What is this sentence then? 영수는 영수 책을 산답시고. So Young-soo is intending to 사다, to buy a book. 서점에 갔는데. So he's trying to buy a book and he went to the 서점, to the bookstore. He's going to go buy a book. Woohoo! What actually happened? 장난감, toy, 구경, looking at. 구경만 했대. So all he did was look at toys. I heard Young-soo was going to go buy some books, so he went to the bookstore, but I heard all he did was just look at toys. 영수는 책을 산답시고 서점에 갔는데 장난감 구경만 했대. Why are we using this form and not just another form? You could also just say 책을 사러 서점에 갔는데, so he went to the bookstore to buy a book. So you don't need to use this form to say the same thing. He went to the bookstore to buy books, but he just looked at toys. Why are we using this 답시고 form? It's the disappointment. We need the sarcasm. We need the disappointment. Without it, our sentence is just boring. 영수는 책을 산답시고, like he said he's gonna go buy some books at the bookstore. Even before you finish the sentence, as soon as you get up to here, the listener knows you're gonna say they messed up. They did something wrong, or they made it worse. So they failed. If a listener hears 영수는 책을 사려고, they're not going to know anything that comes at the end of the sentence. It could be anything. 영수는 책을 사러 서점에 갔는데, nothing. But as soon as a speaker says 책을 산답시고, they hear, oh, 영수's going to mess up. Here comes. What did 영수 do? They know right when you say that there is disappointment coming at the end of the sentence. And by saying that disappointment, you're like, well, yeah, he said he's going to go to the bookstore. And you know something's coming at the end of the sentence that's going to say, well, he messed up doing that, right? As soon as you see this, you know, someone messed up. Hopefully this helps clarify it. 영수는 책을 산답시고 서점에 갔는데 장난감 구경만 했대. Next, let's look at descriptive verbs. It still conveys that sort of disappointment in the second half of the sentence. But the first half of the sentence is a little bit different because now we're not doing something. It's a description. So something is a certain way. When you use it with descriptive verbs, it's actually more like similar to saying a quoting form. For example, someone says that something is a descriptive verb. So someone says something, and already you hear some disappointment coming, and then there's some negative result because of that. So A 답시고 B with the descriptive verb, it's kind of like saying or thinking A, or calling something A, and then B, something negative. Whenever the descriptive verb used is 이다, so to be, this will be 이랍시고 after a consonant and just 랍시고 after a vowel. So let's look at an example sentence. 아이가 선물이랍시고 막대사탕을 줬어요. 아이가, the child, 선물, a present, 선물이랍시고. So the child says or thinks or calls something a present. So the child says, hey, present. 막대사탕을 줬어요 and gave me a lollipop. So the child said, here, a present, and gave me a lollipop. 작은 신발을 예쁘답시고 샀더니 신지는 못하고 장식품이 되었어요. 작은 신발을 예쁘다고 생각하고 someone says or thinks or calls something, in this case, 예쁘다, pretty. So 작은 신발을 예쁘답시고 샀더니, so I bought the small shoes thinking that they're pretty. So I bought these small shoes, thinking that they'd be pretty. Okay, you hear this intonation I'm doing. I'm doing this on purpose. There's already disappointment in my voice. I'm being sarcastic. 신지는 못하고, but I can't even wear them. 장식품, a decoration, 이 되었어요. I bought these shoes thinking that they were just so pretty, and then, I can't even wear them, and they just became decoration. 작은 신발을 예쁘답시고 샀더니 신지는 못하고 장식품이 되었어요. I bought small shoes because I thought they were pretty, but then I can't wear them, and they just became decorations. So if you're wondering, how can I use this for myself? Use it in the first person to talk about something that you did. And by doing that, you're going to downplay that thing that you did. Well, I tried to do something, but that's what it means. You would do this in two situations. One, if you're trying to be modest, and two, if you're trying to do self-deprecation. You're like, I failed. I tried to do something, but Or, well, I mean, I tried to help, but I'm not really sure how helpful it really could be. You could be modest with it, or you could use it for really just talking like about yourself in a negative way. Like, yeah, I failed. Well, I tried to do something. I thought it would be a good idea. It's just used to downplay something that you did. So when you're using this in the first person to downplay something you did, I think a really good way to translate it is, well, I tried to do something, but... So anytime you want to express that, well, I tried to do something. Anytime you want to express that, use this form, 답시고. I should note that this will only be used with action verbs. So I tried to do something, action verbs. You should also know there is a slightly different way that this gets used when it's in the first person. The way it works is you have an action verb, 답시고, like usual. Followed by it, you'll also have a second verb. This can be the same verb again, if you want to really emphasize, like, I tried to do that. But it can also be a different verb. Basically, what it means is I tried to do something. So trying to do something, I did this. But what happened is, and then you finish the sentence. Let me give you an example sentence. 파는 것과 비슷하게 만든답시고 만들어 봤는데. So 파는 것, the one they sell. So the store-bought one, the one you could actually buy. 파는 것과 비슷하게 만들다. To make it similarly as the one that they sell. So I was trying to make it like the one that they sell. So I was trying to make it like the store-bought one. 만든답시고. So as soon as we hear this, I was trying to make it like we know something negative is coming up. We know that the speaker, first person, ruined it or made it worse. Now here we have the second verb. In this case, they're just repeating it. I was trying to make it similar, so what I did is actually made it. 만들어 봤는데 맛이 있을지 모르겠어요. So you're saying, I don't even know if it's going to taste good. But by doing this, you're saying this. Well, I tried to make it like what they sell, but I don't know if it'll be good or not. You're kind of being modest, unless it actually could be terrible. But you're probably just being modest. You're like, hey, prepare yourself for being disappointed. But I'm being modest by saying, hey, I tried to make it like the one that they sell. 만들어 봤는데, and I tried to make it. But, 맛이 있을지 모르겠어요. I'm not really sure if it's going to be good. But I'm just letting you know. But if it's not something disappointing, then it's being modest. 파는 것과 비슷하게 만든답시고 만들어 봤는데 맛이 있을지 모르겠어요. So I was trying to make it similar to the real thing, but I don't know if it'll taste good. 첫 버스를 탄답시고 일찍 나왔는데. So here we have the first part of the sentence. Notice that it's 타다, to get on, to ride. So 첫 버스를 탄답시고. So I'm trying to get on the first bus. So what did I do trying to get on the first bus? So trying to get the first bus, 첫 버스를 타려고. You can think of it like that. 타려고 일찍 나왔는데 버스를 놓쳐서 I missed the bus, and because of that, 한참, for a long time, 한참 기다렸어요. So I had to wait a really long time because I missed it. 첫 버스를 탄답시고 일찍 나왔는데 버스를 놓쳐서 한참 기다렸어요. Well, you see, I was trying to take the first bus, so I left home early, but I missed it and I had to wait for a long time. 첫 버스를 탄답시고, oh, what happened? You messed up. You know that right now. You know that they messed up. But you can think of it grammatically as like 타려고. So like trying to, 타려고, kind of like that. In order to get the first bus, what did I do? 일찍 나왔는데. So you're explaining what it is that you did in order to get the first bus. 첫 버스를 탄답시고 일찍 나왔는데. But you already know. As soon as you hear this, you already know it's not going to work. You hear 답시고. Oh, you messed up. 첫 버스를 탄답시고 일찍 나왔는데 버스를 놓쳐서 한참 기다렸어요. 절약한답시고 직접 페인트를 칠했는데 너무 이상하게 됐어요. So, 절약한답시고. So I was trying to save money, you see, but 직접 페인트를 칠했는데. So I painted it myself. And now you already know something negative happened. You already know that I messed up. 너무 이상하게 됐어요. It got too strange. So it turned out really weird. 절약한답시고 직접 페인트를 칠했는데 너무 이상하게 됐어요. So I was trying to save money by doing the painting by myself, but it turned out so strange. 모기를 잡는답시고 약을 잔뜩 뿌렸더니. So I sprayed mosquito spray everywhere, and as a result, 더니, what happened? 머리가 아파요. So my head hurts. I got a headache now. 모기를 잡는답시고 약을 잔뜩 뿌렸더니 머리가 아파요. So I was trying to catch the mosquitoes, so I just sprayed everywhere and now my head hurts. So we get that sarcasm. In this case, you're kind of making fun of yourself. Yeah, well, genius me, I thought it would be a great idea to try to catch mosquitoes, so I just sprayed everywhere and now I have a headache. That's what it is. 이랍시고. And that is our lesson for today. Thank you for coming, and I will see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.